In 2015, when Tyson Fury defeated Vladimir Klitschko to become the unified heavyweight champion, the brash Brit had the world at his feet. But personal problems led to the undefeated lineal champ being stripped of his belts. After nearly 2.5 years, Fury returned to the squared circle this past June in a fight that was more noted for his antics than action. Tonight, in his second comeback fight, all eyes will be watching to see if Fury's prepared to return to the top of the division. And it's a homecoming for Belfast's favorite son, Carl Frampton. The Irishman captured his second division title by defeating Leo Santa Cruz in 2016.
And the new WBA featherweight champion of the world.
However, his good fortune was reversed 6 months later when the Jackal suffered his first professional loss in the rematch.
And he is the new WBA featherweight champion of the world.
Now Frampton goes back to his roots as he continues his campaign to face the best of the featherweight division. It's an important showcase for Fury and Frampton, as both fighters must win impressively in order to take the next step on the road back to a championship. Showtime Boxing International presents an intriguing doubleheader from Northern Ireland.
It's a big fight with a big fight atmosphere. It is beautiful. It is brutal. It is boxing at its best. What a fight!
Today we bring you live coverage from Belfast, Northern Ireland, featuring two heavily favored former champions with a lot at stake as they look to regain their spots at the top of their respective divisions. And welcome to our New York studios for our latest edition of Showtime Boxing International. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Custer alongside my partner, that's the Hall of Famer, Steve Farhood. You know, our Showtime Boxing International series features big fights from overseas, showcasing current, former, and future world champions at the top of the sport. Well, today we bring you a truly international doubleheader from Windsor Park in Belfast, Northern Ireland, that will impact the title picture in two weight classes. Former two-division world champion and hometown hero Carl Frampton takes on the undefeated Aussie Luke Jackson in a featherweight bout. And in our co-main event, it's the UK's undefeated heavyweight, Tyson Fury. He continues his comeback with eyes on regaining the top of the heavyweight title as he takes on Italy's Francesco Pianeta. Now, as I bring in my partner, Steve Farhood here, and Steve, you've got Frampton, you've got Fury. Both come in heavy favorites and a lot at stakes here in their respective careers.
Well, Cuss, what this is about for both guys is the immediate future. In the case of Frampton, he's never really left. He's been part of the featherweight landscape for several years now. The only thing he did wrong was lose a very close decision to a great fighter in Leo Santa Cruz. So he's probably one fight away, should he win tonight, from fighting Josh Warrington, who's undefeated, and also from the UK for a version of the featherweight title. Tyson Fury is obviously a different story. He left boxing when he was in his very prime after beating Klitschko, had a lot of personal issues. This will be his second fight back. According to what we see, he's in much better shape. And if he wins, well, we have Deontay Wilder waiting, a fight that would be on Showtime pay-per-view.
Well, you talked about being in shape. You look at it, the last time we saw Tyson Fury, I mean, it was like 276, I think, is when he weighed in. But for this fight at 258, so obviously in a lot better shape. You know, and it wasn't too long ago, it seemed like the heavyweight division was really a two-horse race, just Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, the two of them, of course, that remains the fight we all want to see. Let's hope we see it in 2019, maybe early in the year. But the fact is we're not going to see it this year. So what we get instead is really not that bad for the fight fan because Alexander Povetkin's a legitimate challenger, a former world champion. He'll fight Joshua in September. And if we do get Deontay Wilder against Tyson Fury, well, that's a fight that's not going to need to be sold.
Yeah, absolutely. So With Joshua and Wilder not happening until at least next year, enter Tyson Fury. After a 2.5-year layoff, he returned to take 4 rounds, really, to just dispatch Sefer Seferi in his return to the ring in June. Now, he seems to be over those personal issues and working his way back into shape and focus on regaining a piece of the heavyweight title.
Hey, this is Tyson Fury, the best heavyweight of my generation. Tally, you say I'm the trash-talking champion. Yes, I am. And it worked against your brother, didn't it? This is a message to Deontay Wilder. I've never seen a man dream so much in my life. You big, lanky, skinny-legged dosser. You big chinless bum. I put my fist right through you.
Chances are you've heard from Tyson Fury long before you saw him fight. Antics are aplenty with the Gypsy King, and the boisterous big man surely isn't one to hold his tongue.
Thank you very much, people, you're beautiful.
But in order to understand Fury's approach, you must first understand his path to this point. Since stepping onto the scene in 2008, the 6'9" heavyweight has used every inch of his colossal frame to dominate his opponents. His ascent up the rankings climaxed in 2015 with an upset victory against Vladimir Klitschko to become the unified lineal world heavyweight champ. Fury's sudden success came with many consequences. A 2-year disappearance from the sport was riddled with depression and drug use, which ultimately led to the forfeiture of his titles. Fury is now back and barking yet again. And at 26-0, he has valid reason to be.
Forget about Wilder or anybody else. This guy wants to become the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm standing in his way of doing that.
While his sights are set on the summit of the division, a victory tonight could get him a date with Deontay.
Deontay Wilder, I'll apologise on behalf of Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. They've took 3 months stringing the fans along with no intentions of fighting. I'll fight you in 3 seconds.
You know, Tyson Fury said tonight you're going to see a heavyweight version of Sugar Ray Leonard. Anything less, he says, is a failure. Put this thing in perspective for us. Can you remember a fighter who's had this kind of fall from grace and all of a sudden had a great comeback to get back to the pinnacle?
I think this is unique, Brian. We've had many heavyweights over the years who have had long gaps in their careers. Ali, no choice of his own. George Foreman went away after a loss. Mike Tyson went away, went to prison and came back, regained the title. But with Tyson Fury, it's different because he was on top of his game. He was in his very prime and was a young man, 27, 28, when he actually voluntarily retired at one point with so many personal issues, drugs and alcohol, and tested positive for PEDs. So this is unique, and this comeback, should it continue, is as improbable as any in recent boxing history.
All right, let's talk about some keys to victories here, and let's start with Tyson Fury and also Pianeta as well.
Well, with Tyson Fury, he has to use the ring, Brian. His huge reach is maximized when he stays on the outside. He's amazingly mobile for a guy who's 6'9". He has to fire the 1-2. His most of his stoppages have been with the straight right hand, far more than any other punch. And he has to stay in the moment. In other words, focus, focus, focus. Though if there wasn't some clowning, of course, it wouldn't be Tyson Fury. So we move on to Francesco Pianeta. He needs to apply pressure. If he doesn't attack, the much longer Fury will pick him apart. He has to gun the left hand. Pianeta is unlikely to win a decision, so he should go for it by firing his southpaw left, which is his sole major weapon. And finally, stay off the ropes. Pianeta back to the ropes against Ruslan Chagayev. He didn't make it out of round 1. He can't do that against Tyson Fury.
Now, listen, if Tyson Fury is victorious, you're looking at a possible matchup with Deontay Wilder either in November, December on Showtime pay-per-view. You know, I would love that because the build-up to that thing would be amazing. Why? Deontay Wilder has been in Northern Ireland. He's going to sit ringside for this fight. Take a look at what happened on Friday, going to the weigh-in of Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder, Fury, look at this.
I think this is one of these moments, Brian. Hold me back, hold me back.
Yes. I mean, look at
Make sure you hold me back.
The number of people, the media, and those two, as you point out, two men who can sell a fight. And can you imagine that?
I can't imagine it. You know, they're modern-day heavyweights in that they sell themselves a lot via social media, as well as they sell anybody else or any other matchup. And this matchup is a dream matchup. Two large heavyweights, two large personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, really, this should be a really significant step up for Tyson Fury. We're just moments away of him entering the ring against Pianeta. You know, this is, and it's an interesting fight because Pianeta obviously is a guy who's fought for a piece of the heavyweight title twice in his career. What kind of fighter is he?
Well, he's a southpaw, and that by itself could give Tyson Fury some problems. But it's all about levels. And in his comeback fight, Fury fought Sefery.
Yeah.
Small enough to put in his pocket.
Yeah.
This time he's fighting at least a good fighter at the European level.
And Fury says he's knocked out every southpaw he's faced. So from Belfast, Northern Ireland, a battle of heavyweights. Tyson Fury, Francesco Pianeta. Let's send it to John Rawlings, Barry Jones, and David Hay for the call.
Francesco Pianeta making his way across the pitch towards the ring. 25,000 people watching on. Physically a big man twice. He's lost in world title challenges. Tyson Fury is going to want to look good tonight. He recognises that he was clowning last time. This time, he says it's for serious, and Pianeta's going to be on the receiving end. He said he'll make him into Italian sausage. Well, we will see. In his career, 35 wins, and he can punch a bit. He's got 21 stoppages, and physically not as big as Tyson Fury, but then very few are. But he won't be dwarfed.
And now let's welcome to the ring from England. He is the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury!
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and kick you there permanently if you let it. You need a new button. It's going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
This week that Tyson Fury in the run-up to this has looked happier and more at peace with himself than at any stage that I can remember in his career. Loves his music, and he's not exactly rushing into the ring. Skinner and Deontay Wilder enjoying that as well. Sweet home Alabama, that's his part of the world. I think that's been deliberately targeted to Deontay Wilder from Tyson Fury. Well, here he is, and he gets a rapturous reception from the crowd, dancing right in front of our commentary position. 6'9" of him, or very nearly, over the top rope and into the ring. And Deontay Wilder's got his phone up there. He's filming him and smiles to him as he goes over to that side of the ring. No exchange of words yet. I think that might be yet to come. But that is certainly another spectacular ring entrance from Tyson Fury. And Belfast has made him something of a cult hero this week. He's had a phenomenal reception wherever he's been. He might not be topping the bill, but there is massive interest into how he's going to get on tonight. Dad John Fury right in front of him. He was the one who was in Deontay Wilder's face at the weigh-in, but that's all in the past. We're talking now about what's going to come up from here on in. And there you see the height advantage and the reach advantage for Tyson Fury. But just look at him when he takes off his protective garments and look at the shape that he's got himself into. He was weighing not much more than a year ago, something like 28 stones, and he's come down to 18 stone 6, and he looks good. Let's now get the official introductions from Thomas Stryber.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it is an international heavyweight contest. Brought to you by Frampton on behalf of Queensberry Promotions, along with their great sponsors, 32 Red and Foot Asylum. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Board Representative Robert W. Smith, Timekeeper Bob Edgeworth. When the bell rings, our referee in charge and scoring this contest will be Steve Gray of England. Introducing to you first, fighting tonight out of the red corner. He's wearing black with silver and weighed in at 18 stone 2 pounds. Coming to us from Gelsenkirchen, Germany, he brings a professional record consisting of 35 wins, 4 defeats, 1 draw, with 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former world title challenger, Francesco Pianeta! And his opponent across the ring fighting tonight, out of the blue corner, he's wearing camouflage trunks and weighed in at 18 stone, 6 pounds. Hailing from Manchester, England, he is undefeated with 26 wins. 19 of his 26 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former undefeated unified heavyweight world champion and the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury!
Again, a tremendous reception for Fury. Barry Jones alongside me. David Hayes made his way down here as well, so they'll be the 2 voices you hear alongside my own. Final instructions now from Steve Gray. Barry, he said that it's got to be all business this time. There can be no joking. This has got to be for real. And Tyson Fury He's seemingly heading towards this date with Deontay Wilder, and tonight, Barry, he needs to look good.
He needs to get the win first and foremost. That's the most important thing. He needs to look good in the process, just to sell it to the public. Listen, they love him. They loved him in Manchester. They love him here in Belfast. He's obviously, everyone's happy for him to be back. Let's just see the vintage Tyson Fury and look forward to hopefully the next big fight.
Well, he almost ran across the ring there to Pianeta. He said that he expected Pianeta to come at him, throwing bombs in the early stages, but Fury, who showed impressive hand speed and footwork when we've seen him working in the gym and in public workouts in the run-up to this, he's up on his toes and trying to start fast. Pianeta trying to walk him into the corner, and good footwork there from Fury as he gets away out of hitting distance. He'll be looking to look good though, David.
No doubt about it, and I like the way Pianeta is staying cool and calm, and as he did then, he's looking for the shot. He's not coming, he hasn't come in here just looking for the one punch, but I do like what I'm seeing from Tyson Fury now. This is the Tyson Fury of old. You know, the fact he put his arms on the ropes, opened his hand, you know, a little like a Cassius Clay. I remember him doing that back in the day. You know, putting his hands on the ropes and willing his opponent try to land a clean shot, and he couldn't do that. So
a little bit contemptuous, and Pianeta is trying to make him pay, trying to show the power of that left hand, Barry, and trying to show that he's got the physical strength to not be bullied around by Fury.
Well, what Fury will always do, he will give you opportunities because he drops his hand when you're in range and wants to use that upper body movement, the fast reflexes to get out of trouble. But he used good footwork in the corner there just to spin off and away, in fact, in the centre in from Pianeta. Just has to keep switched on, that's all.
He turned him real nice, real nice. He was under pressure, he turned him, got out the corner and looked cool and calm doing it.
Well, here in the corner again, that time he comfortably parries the attempted left hand from Pianeta and worked his way neatly along the ropes, and there's the hand speed, good right hand, and that found the target.
And he's doing well. It's always hard to establish a jab against the southpaw, but he's done, because he got such a long reach. Fury, he can establish the jab quite well, and he's done that. No, this is what we see with Fury. He's never got a guy who comes forward looking for destruction. He works behind the jab, drops his hand, showboats a little bit, calls you on and tries to get you in a surprise attack.
Very often he's not been the spectacular one-punch knockout artist, Tyson. What he tends to do, David, is look at the opponent, take their game away from him, and just rely on those boxing skills.
Yeah, he frustrates you. He tries to, grind you down with his size. When you get into the clinches, he leans on you, pushes, and he's such an imposing man. So heavy, so big, got such long arms. He makes it very difficult to land a clean shot against him.
Well, we've got 20 seconds to go in the opening round, and it's not looking as though Fury's going to stamp his authority on this match with an explosive first-round knockout, but there's no doubting that his boxing skills will have caught the eyes of Steve Gray, acting as the scorer for this contest. Pianeta has him in that corner on the far side of the ring once more. Fury making him miss, and we'll look back at it in more detail in a moment or two.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood, back in our CBS studios here in New York City. And give me your first thoughts on what you saw at round one.
Well, a little bit too much playing against the ropes by Fury, but otherwise I thought he looked pretty good. He's moving well. The fact that he weighs a lot less than he did in his comeback fight is visible, and movement is a big part of his game, so I think he clearly won the first round.
Well, there's the action from the opening round, and they were praising them. His use of his feet, his footwork, light on his feet. Ben Davison stressing, keep that way.
No doubt, and what I liked about Tyson there, he was a completely different Tyson Fury than when he saw last time out. No clowning around, no messing around. He was throwing quality shots, body shots. He did a little showboating on the ropes, but he didn't take any clean shots in the process. So this is the Tyson Fury that we was hoping we'd see.
He looks quicker. He looks more sharp. His distance and time is a lot better. He's in against a guy with slow feet, so it's fine for him. But he's established that jab very early on, and that's what Tyson's not an athlete. Tyson's a pure boxer, so you need to establish that jab, and he's done that. And he's found his range quickly. So you expect to start the building on that now as the rounds go on, and Pianeta starts to take some risks. Hopefully, and Tyson can exploit that.
Pianeta was stopped in 7 by Kevin Johnson. Body shots accounted for him there when he seemed to run out of steam. And against a young Croatian, Peter Milas, in June, he lost on points, but he's going to set some problems to Fury. And of course he's a southpaw, which Deontay Wilder is.
Deontay Wilder switches southpaw and orthodox, but he's traditionally a right-hander. Now I know firsthand, I've tasted that right hand of his, and he throws it from the orthodox position. But you're right, he does switch southpaw from time to time and throw awkward shots. I'm thinking about the Wilder fight as I'm watching this. You know, I believe Tyson Fury is going to find a way to win this fight, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing from Tyson Fury tonight. You know, this is what I was hoping he'd be able to do: move, use his feet, you know, use that elusiveness that he's always had.
Well, there's a very much more purposeful look to him here, Barry, and there's a good variety of shots there. But Pianeta trying to walk him down, trying to keep him under pressure.
But it's a process to get back. He's been out for such a long time, and the first fight back, we couldn't really see much of it. But now, showing his reflexes are better than they were. Timing, you know, he's just making Pianeta miss by a few inches, and that's not by accident. He's seeing the punches coming, riding the shots quite well.
You can see it in his physique that he's been paying the price in training, that he hasn't been cutting any corners in terms of strength and conditioning, and I'm really happy with what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
seems light on his feet. This is the Tyson that, you know, we all can remember.
From 19 stone 10 in his last fight to 18 stone 6 tonight. He's being walked down again by Pianeta, but Pianeta not finding a power shot to put him under trouble so far. But he's just making him think here and just trying to cut him off, trying to keep those punches coming.
Yeah, Tyson's just letting him get a little bit too close there. He just needs to put that uppercut in. When Pianeta gets close, he squares his feet up. So you get that uppercut on target there. Just put him back on his heels a little bit.
There's a tendency with Tyson, as we've seen through his career, that he performs very much to the level of the man who's in front of him. Sometimes he's not just going in there and totally outclassing somebody, but this is a good way to finish. And he waves him on, Pianeta, saying, come on, if you want to try yourself in some toe-to-toe action, then we'll see about it. He encouraged him to come in, but Fury back up onto his toes, makes him miss, and that'll be another round in the bag.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood in our New York studios. Want to remind you that former world champions Danny Swift Garcia and Showtime Sean Porter square off with the vacant WBC welterweight title September 8th on Showtime Championship Boxing. It's presented by Premier Boxing Champions. This is a really good matchup, Steve.
Virtually a pick'em fight, a very important fight, two different kinds of styles. It's a fight we've been waiting for a long time.
Let's get you right back out to Belfast for round 3. Tyson Fury, Francesco Pianeta.
Welcome back to Belfast, Windsor Park. Tyson Fury in action. Here's Francesco Pianeta in his corner, getting instructions. Fury, I think, will be pretty pleased with the way things are going so far, and Ben Davison will be confident that he's taken those first 2 rounds, Barry.
Yeah, I think he's boxing well. He's nice and relaxed. He's not trying too hard to do anything silly or take any risks. He's boxing behind the jab. His footwork's quite well. He's quite fluent. No, I think it's a fine, and it's a good display without going too heavy on trying to get the stoppage yet. But when does Tyson Fury ever do that? He tries to confuse you, frustrate you, and then try and bust you up. I think that's always been the Tyson Fury style.
Looking quite sharp in his movements and with his hand speed and his punch picking.
Yeah, he's putting his punches together now in bunches. In the first round, he was putting 1s and 2s together. I just saw him for a 4-punch combination. I like the fact he's not looking for power. He's looking at just keeping busy, touching, moving, showing the head, showing the body. You know, I like the way he's putting his shots together.
And also the rounds are very important, aren't they? Because, you know, Wilder, if he does get the Wilder fight next, then that's a different proposition altogether. So, you know, you have to get those, as you know, David, the training rounds and the actual competitive rounds are 2 different things. So you need a few rounds in the bank.
Yeah, for sure. You know, this Pianeta, he's got a style. He's a leech. He's waiting for Tyson to make a mistake. He's not forcing anything. You know, a completely different proposition, as you said, to Deontay Wilder. But as far as game plan for Pianeta, you know, it's punch perfect so far.
Yep, that is certainly so, and it's a very much more of a contest than Tyson Fury's comeback fight, his slightly farcical comeback fight in Manchester. Here he's being made to think as Pianeta tries to keep that tight guard. He's not put Fury into any real trouble yet, but likewise Fury hasn't rocked him in any way as yet, Barry.
Well, it's the movement of Fury. He'll give you opportunity when he drops his hands in range, like I said before, but the movement of Fury, those little feints he does, and that just stops you from bowling forward. That's all that is. Unless you're really committed or you've got a big shot, and I don't think Pianeta's got either one of those really yet. All heavyweights can punch, of course. I don't think he got enough to trouble Fury or enough snap in his punches for Fury not to see the punches coming. I think that's important.
Fury fighting out of the orthodox stance at the moment. He's another one who can switch hits. Remember his fight against Derek Chisora second time when he beat him exclusively fighting southpaw. He has that variety and that skill set, that ability, that unorthodox movement and that natural fluidity, and he's trying to show that he's still got that here tonight. Has to take a right hand as he threw that left into the body.
He did take a right hand because his hands are dropped, but because he leans back on the rope, just takes the sting out of the shot.
Yeah, nothing hit him flush there. It was all sort of glancing blows. He's got quite a deceptively good defence, Tyson Fury. He looks a bit disorganised as he does it, but he rarely gets caught with shots when he's up against the ropes.
Well, he won the first 2 rounds fairly comfortably and doing enough to take this one as well. Fury 3 rounds gone, and it's going his way.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood, back in our New York studios. What do you see so far? 3 rounds. Look, he's bouncing, boxing, touching.
I think that it's clear Tyson Fury both needs rounds and wants to go rounds, and he's showing again tonight why he's so difficult to fight. He's so tall, yet he has that movement. It's very unusual for a guy his size to have that kind of movement and reach.
Inside the NFL, it returns for its 11th season on Showtime Tuesday, September 4th, with a preview of the upcoming NFL season. Now get you back out to Belfast.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt here in Belfast, Barry, that's another round for Tyson Fury.
It is, and let's not get carried away. We knew this was going to be the case. He always had too much to beat Pianeta, even at this early stage, back in his comeback run again. But you know, when he's boxing well, he's not, as David said, he's not holding his feet, he's not trying to load up, he's nice and fluent, and I think he's boxing to instructions, and that's important.
Yeah, happy to rely on boxing skills so far. We've not seen Fury really trying to unload big punches. I just wonder whether he might be looking to step it up before too long.
Yeah, I liked the noises that he wasn't making in the corner. When you looked at his face, he seemed calm. He was listening intently. He wasn't distracted. I remember in his comeback fight, during the fight, he was looking outside of the fight at a fight in the crowd. He wasn't switched on. He was listening to his coach there. He wasn't breathing heavily, and it looks like he's just warming into it. Perfect defense right there. You know, slipping punches, very cool, very calm, very in control of his body.
Important night as well for Ben Davison. Do you remember that, yeah, Barry? An inexperienced young coach. The fighter-trainer relationship is developing, and it's going to be a searching examination of both if they do get potentially a big showdown with Wilder. And there you did see Fury landing with more authority, more power there.
Well, the first combination was a lovely right hand left hook, and it all comes from a feint again. He gives you a little stutter step with the foot, and then Pianeta just holds his feet, just freezes slightly, and then Fury, because he got the faster hands, the faster boxing brain, lets the punches go. And this is what we're used to seeing from Fury. This is not, this is what he does. He takes risks by dropping his hands, but puts his boxing together, doesn't load up with shots, and he just slowly, systematically, outboxes you and frustrates you.
Showing some good footwork once again.
Yeah, that's what Dave was on about earlier there, that little movement there, just a little lateral movement, using the feet to get out of the way. And for a huge fella, he's a huge fella, very, very agile.
Good again. Accuracy as well as flashy speed.
He looks like he's kind of got into his flow now. He's got a real nice rhythm about him. He's pulling the right facial expressions. He looks like he's really enjoying his work in there.
What Pianeta needs to do is forget about it. Don't aim for the chin. That head's constantly moving, the body's not moving. So he's a southpaw. Take that right foot on the outside, double jab to the chest, and then whip that left hook to the body, and try and slow Fury's feet down. That's what Pianeta needs to do, just to get Fury to hold his feet and then maybe you can have a little bit of a gunfight with him.
There's a calm about Tyson Fury this week, David. I mean, I've noticed it all week. He seems to be so happy in himself to be back in boxing, and it's giving him such a clarity of focus for what he wants in his life and where he's going from here on.
You know, he deserves this. He deserves these big nights, these stadium fights. You remember, he was the guy who went over to Germany and beat Vladimir Klitschko, something that many people, including myself, wasn't able to do. And you know, the fact that he lost his titles outside of the ring really, I think, gets to him. The fact that no man has beaten him, he's still undefeated, yet he has none of the world title belts. He really wants them back. He believes he's the rightful champion, and in many people's eyes, he is. He's the lineal champion. He's the man who beat the man.
Well, here's some of the action from that fourth round, Barry, and he's starting to go through his paces here, starting to go through the gears just a little.
Yes, he's going through the phases, and he was doing that from the offset, working behind the jab, established it early with the southpaw, which is hard to do, and he's done it quite comfortably. The upper body movement, the foot works fast, and it's not going to carry the weight, because this is a different test of what he might have in his next fight, hopefully. But this stage, what we see from Tyson, this is what we wanted to see. The distance, the timing, it all seems to be slowly coming back. That's a good sign.
Well, Deontay Wilder went across into the corner and wanted to say something to Fury in his corner. Fury's up there dancing now before the action restarts, enjoying himself. Wilder's got a smile on his face. I think it was all pretty good-natured.
We'll see about that. But Pianeta, this is Pianeta's massive chance to gate crash. Gate crash this world scene and get back to to challenging for another world title. So he needs to go for it. That's a good body shot there from Pianeta. But you got to let his hands go. You got to quicken his feet up, double that jab up, and then when he gets close to Fury, you got to just rattle those punches off.
4 out of 4 we've got it on the scorecards. We're in the 5th round of this 10-rounder. The Gypsy King Tyson Fury clipped by a glancing blow by that right hand of Pianeta's, and it's raining quite heavily now. Those out behind the protective canopy, which mercifully is covering us up at the moment, are seeing some ponchos being thrown to them. There's a few plastic coats being used, and those who've prepared are going to be fairly grateful.
It's good on Tyson there, double jab and a solid right hand through the guard. I'm watching Tyson and thinking he won't get away. If he does fight Wilder next, he won't get away with dropping his hands like this. But then we said that when he boxed Klitschko. He won't get away with dropping his hands close. He won't get away with offering his chin out as a target. But, he has a good eye for distance and judgment of distance, and he seems to somehow, that awkwardness, that a natural boxing skill, seems to get away with it.
Well, the forecasters said that the rain would come after 9 o'clock, and it's certainly coming with a vengeance. An uppercut inside from Fury.
Not so much the shot, John, the way he rolled into it. So he's gone underneath and he's seen the gap, and then he's looked for the shot. But Pianeta's given him plenty of time, isn't he, David? His feet a little bit too slow.
Yeah, he needs to be feinting, he needs to be forcing openings, he needs to be making Tyson Fury flinch and move, then counter his attacks. His feet are very, very heavy, very slow, and this plodding style may work at just below world level, but when you're in there against a genuine world-class fighter, you get found out, you get picked apart, and that's exactly what's happening.
50 seconds to go in this 5th round, and Fury blocking another attempted big left hand from Pianeta, sees it coming and manages to evade it easily and time up in a very adept manner in that corner.
Yeah, there's nothing cultured or classy from Pianeta. It's all quite brute. He's trying to brute force, just trying to force his big left hand across without making the opening first. And against someone like Tyson Fury, you're going to need to be very lucky to land a knockout blow like that.
Just a little bit too telegraphed as well, isn't he? He did land with the right hook there, but
yeah, but it was all an arm shot, and it was, Tyson Fury took the sting out of it with his body movement. You need to set Tyson up. You need to feint hard, get him to do one of his movements, his evasive movements, and then counter him.
Well, it's all Tyson Fury in that round. It's another one that he's picked up. That's going to be 5-0, and look at the rain coming down there. Fortunately, under the protective canopy, Ronald McIntosh is with Deontay Wilder.
The round's completed. I'm about that schedule for 10. Your thoughts on what you've seen from Tyson Fury to this point?
I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. He got great movement.
He got excellent slipping. He's slipping, he's dodging the punches. He surprised me with his corner move when he trapped him in the corner and he spent around and came back. That's one of the moves I use as well too. He's looking good. I'm trying to get in his head right now. I'm coaching him. And I'm also giving him a lot of banner and said too. You know, getting in his head to let him know I'm still here. I'm right here. Don't lose focus on this guy. Get in there and get the job and knock him out. So I'm loving what I'm seeing right now.
Thank you very much indeed for your thoughts, Deontay.
What's that?
Deontay Wilder with Ronald McIntosh giving him a bit of coaching.
Listen, two great talkers, two real characters, so you expect nothing less. But he's winning everything comfortable. But the criticism that Tyson will get is that every round's the same, and he's winning it with ease. So now, for the sake of selling himself, he's just start going through the gears a little bit more, I would suggest.
Vladimir Klitschko made a good career out of doing the same thing every round. As long as you're winning the rounds, that's all that counts.
More important, most definitely it is, but a different crowd that we have here and then in Germany, obviously, I think. And I think for just to sell this, the big fights coming up, he puts his foot on the pedal. And I think he gets him out of here.
And of course, the American audience watching live with us on Showtime, and very much over there, they like to see the punches, don't they?
They really do. And that's why a lot of the Klitschko fights weren't shown in the States for that very reason. But Tyson Fury comes with so much personality, so much unpredictability that you can't take your eyes off the action.
Well, there's a different work ethos here from Fury, right in his face and trying to work away and show his skill as a boxer on the inside, Barry.
And the strength, just putting the weight there on Pianeta. You can't underestimate with these big heavyweights that just leaning on each other, or that tires them out. Pianeta threw a nice little uppercut there off the ropes, but Pianeta needs to do what Fury did, and just a little pivot off the ropes, get back in the centre of the ring.
Steve Gray saying don't use your head. Ricky Hatton used to be one of the most adept in the game of just stepping to one side and giving space for hooks.
Finding the angle of attack, just changing the angle of attack, working that semicircle around the body, so very important. It stops punches coming back at you as well, which is also massively important.
Fury just looking as though he's trying to load up a little more when he goes for those headshots now. Another sneak uppercut inside from Pianeta, but no great power in it.
Well, he might feel that Pianeta's just started to slow ever so slightly, so he thinks he can hold his feet a little bit more, start putting some more weight in the shots, which we're seeing here. And more importantly, like he's done early in this round, pushing Pianeta back.
Been doing a lot of work in the Ricky Hatton gym up there in Manchester. Ben Davison, chief trainer, of course, Ricky Hatton in that corner as well tonight.
It's easier said than done, but Pianeta wants a realistic chance of winning this fight. He has to get some more injection of pace into his work. He has to fasten those feet up, fasten those hands up, punching combinations. Easier said than done against an elusive fighter like Fury, but if you're in the fight to win, you've got to try and commit yourself.
Concentration so important for Fury. He's done everything okay so far, but so we move into the closing stages of the 6th round. Stamina's going to be called into question the further the fight goes, and he can't afford to get caught.
I definitely feel the further this fight goes, the better it is for Tyson Fury. You know, the Pianeta, he's taking the volume of shots. He's not slipping much, and this plodding forward style, you know, isn't going to help him in the later rounds, because he's not forcing Tyson to come out of his comfort zone.
Back and you're coming forward, you've got to take your time, don't rush it, yeah?
And he can do this all night long.
You don't want to be complacent and run on something silly.
Let's listen to the corner.
When you're coming forward, little bit by little bit, sharp twitches, sharp head movement, he'll tuck up in a shell. When you get him here, keep him here. Don't leave your head in the centre. Goes around the body, you're killing him, yeah? Little chip, even when you're in the centre of the ring, you tie him up, chip, chip, chip. You know what I mean? Good stuff. Don't switch off.
Another round for Tyson Fury.
Sharp head movement, yeah, not lazy head movement.
It's all quite comfortable, possibly too comfortable, John. I think he's winning it with ease. But it's good to see he's got his timing and distance and judgment back, and also he's done. It's his pace, so that makes it a little bit easier. But he's still done 6 rounds. Not massively fast pace, but in a decent pace. His legs are still strong, hands are still fast. And being out such a long time, you can include the first fight back. It wasn't really a fight, but this is more of a fight type scenario, and he's doing doing what he wants, and that's good. But for me, sorry, John, but for me, I'd still think, you know, to really sell any future fight with any of these big stars, you know, I think it's in him now, everything's comfortable, he starts letting his hands go like that, and I think he gets a good stoppage.
Well, he's certainly trying, you sense, to increase the power with which he's connecting with Pianeta, who still keeps trudging forward, hoping that he's going to get lucky, perhaps with one of those left hands. If you're wondering what's being thrown around, those are the plastic mats which are being distributed.
See Pianeta there trying to show that body shot, but just not stepping across with the right foot to get any sort of decent angle on the punch. Pianeta needs to keep that foot on the outside like it is right now, and then let that left hook go to the body, and then the right hand over the top. But those little fidgety movements from Fury, just hard to set yourself against.
There's just one or two little calls which I've picked up behind me, out in the crowd of "Come on, Tyson." Well, that left hand's hurt him. Referee says it was low, and he's going to give Pianeta time to recover. It looks as though he's pretty much on the borderline to me.
Yeah, that was on the border. There was no real damage done there for me. You know, looking like he needs a bit of a breather.
And I think he's going to maximise it. In theory, he could be given 5 minutes by the referee, and he seems to be, well, that's the right word, milking it slightly.
Without a doubt.
Touch of gloves, yeah. Sorry, mate. Ish.
Psychologically, that lets Tyson Fury know that Pianeta needs a break. He knows he didn't hit him low, and he wanted the break. Tyson Fury doesn't look like he needs any breaks. If he got hit with that exactly the same shot, I doubt he would make even blink. He would just carry on.
It was a left hand to the body that did the damage, and he almost found the target again there. He'll be looking for another one, because that pain will linger.
Lovely right hand there from Fury, and he knows it. Nice long right hand there, just over the left hand. Dropped the left hand slightly, Pianeta, and Fury seen the gap, and again.
Is he just starting to unravel a bit, Pianeta? He's actually given ground in this 7th round for the first time. When he landed that body shot, I was about to say there were a few slightly frustrated shouts from the crowd saying, "Come on, Tyson, come on, Tyson." Well, he came on and he landed that left hand, which may or may not have been low. We'll have a look at that in a moment or two. But he certainly knows that he can hurt him now, one way or another, and you can see him trying to work his way around to find the angles to fire in body shots once again.
Yeah, he's really busting him up now. You know, in that round is the first time I've seen Pianeta really start to struggle. The pace is caught up with him. Those punches that don't look hard from a man who's nearly 19 stone, believe me, they really start grinding you down.
There's another left hook went in there, and he felt the weight of that again, right on the bell from Tyson Fury, and that's, I think, for me, his most emphatic round so far.
Yeah, it is, because as David said, it was the first time you made me see Pianeta feel a little bit sorry for himself. It is on the borderline, but with that cup, that protector, it can have a funny effect on you. So you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do feel what David said is Pianeta starting to maybe wane just a little bit. As you said, he's a big guy, and even the jabs, you must feel the jabs. You know better than me.
The shots to the average guy in the street don't look that hard when you're in there, but believe me, after sparring and fighting big guys, the little shots, they start catching up with you.
Here's Carl Frampton. He's going to be next in against Luke Jackson. Keeping an eye, of course, on the screens as to what's happening in the ring right now. But he's also trying to keep himself calm, cool and focused for his big night here at Windsor Park.
And it's a test for Frampton should win. But, you know, I think Jackson's, I agree with Richie Woodall, Jackson's a harder fight more people give him credit for.
I'll tell you one thing, he is absolutely super fit, and he's very aware that he's got a massive opportunity here tonight to upset all the best laid plans. Back to Tyson Fury, though. We're in the 8th round of 10, and the question now, I think it's reaching that stage, is he going to be able to maintain the pressure and to force a stoppage victory? That was a good, solid left hand to the head of Pianeta, who once again is giving ground, sinking back onto the ropes, and Fury will be looking to really put his foot on the accelerator now.
Yeah, Tyson Fury, he's only got 3 rounds now, less than 3 rounds. He can see the finishing line, so he can start exerting a little bit more energy. And psychologically, maybe he wasn't sure how hard a pace he could fight after so many years out. But now he can see the finishing line. I think he's going to start putting his foot on the accelerator and really start putting some more meat into the shots.
Even though he's boxing at his own pace, so it makes it a lot easier. But it's still hard, you know. He's still got to be fit. And I think for a big fella carrying that weight around on the balls of your feet for 7.5 rounds, I think David's right. His fitness is there or thereabouts, almost ready for a big test. And he's boxing well. And even when he gets Pianeta on the ropes, he's not the bullish type of fighter, but he's moving around the target, so he's looking for angles, he's looking for the shots, so he's thinking while he's moving. So he's slowly ticking the boxes on this comeback trail. And we all want more from everyone we watch, but I think it's a decent display by Fury for sure.
Good body shots there, left hook and a right hook, and now he's right in his face. This is where Ben Davison wanted him, and this is where he wants to see him just produce those little angles to find the opportunity to land hurtful hooks. Is he going to be able to do so? Skips to one side, and there you saw the right hand underneath the elbow, trying to manoeuvre his way in, trying to work his way in, David.
He's doing the right thing. He's got a guy who has lost the snap in his punches now, and he's a physically bigger man, so he's just roughing him up inside. All of these exchanges, Tyson Fury will come out the better. These shots to the body, round the sides, none of them are flush, but they're draining Pianeta's energy systems. He's going to come back to the centre of the ring, and he's going to be slower now. Tyson Fury is going to be the same. Pianeta's going to be a lesser fighter after those exchanges on the ropes.
Important psychologically, Barry, for Tyson to get these rounds under his belt, maybe, and after, what was he out, 924 days or something, and went grossly out of condition, to actually come back and be able to put rounds together like this, psychologically important.
And we said from the offset, I think getting those rounds in the bag, even at this pace, and he dictated the pace, is good. And I think, as David said earlier, just a minute ago, he's starting to put a bit more weight in his shots now as Pianeta gets tired. Pianeta, for me, any sort of desire he had looks to have gone off on Pianeta.
Fury switching southpaw now, and the 8th round comes to a conclusion. And still, for me, a complete shutout, and you can see the rain coming down there. It is a very wet night now here in Belfast, not so in the ring, and mercifully, no real wind at the moment, so no problem.
No, and Tyson's having it all his own way. There's a lovely little shuffle there with the right hand, disguising that left hook from Fury. It's a lovely little, clever little shot. Vintage sort of Fury punch, that is. A little bit of a maverick move, you don't see it coming, but a big fella, which has such be so agile, but again, I think if he sustained attack, and I think Pianeta folds.
I don't doubt, David, that there were some armchair critics out there saying, well, why can't he just go and blow this guy away? But that's never been his game.
That's not his style, that's not his game, that's not what his attributes are. He's not a one-punch specialist, and if he went out there looking for that, all he would do is mess his rhythm up and get caught with big shots himself. Doing what he's doing is the right thing, breaking his opponents down slowly and looking for that one shot the right way, not forcing it. If the shot presents itself, he'll be there to land it. But if it doesn't, he's happy with a points decision.
2 rounds to go, Barry, and it's all Tyson Fury, and here he comes as the southpaw.
Well, it was, let's be honest, it was never a fight that we thought he could lose it, unless he was just dreadful, unless he lost all his snap. So he's clearly got the movement back, and that's very important, because he's going to need that against the world-class opposition. This good time in the distance, that's back, that's good. Fitness looks pretty good. So he's not far off. I think he gets a little bit more toned for the next contest, whenever that may be. And and then we got the Tyson of when he beat Klitschko, that sort of Tyson. The maverick, the fast mover. And we'll wait and see. But Pianeta's sort of the slow feet helps Tyson out a lot. But he hasn't allowed Pianeta any opportunity to get back into the fight.
Well, he'll have another 2 or 3 months of concerted preparation before a potential fight with Deontay Wilder. It's not been announced yet, but you don't really need to be a great crystal ball gazer to realise that it's very much in the plans. The big American wouldn't be here if there weren't advanced negotiations for that fight to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's announced very soon after this, provided nothing goes wrong in the remaining time.
Well, you see, the Wilder will be watching ringside now, thinking he got good movement, and Fury spins well, as he said himself, out off the corners, but he gives you opportunities, and you can clip him with shots. And obviously Wilder, if he clips you with a shot, you don't get back from it, you don't get up from it sometimes. So, but then I think you can't underestimate how awkward and tricky I think Fury actually is. But any big puncher will fancy Fury because he drops his hands. in range and gives you a chance, and that's what makes him, in some fight scenarios like that, an exciting proposition.
People fancy him, but nobody thus far. He's been down against a couple of fighters earlier in his career who really nobody gave a chance of doing anything against him, and that was maybe through a lack of concentration as much as anything else. He'd certainly say so. And he believes, I mean, talking to him this week, he believes that he is, by a distance, a superior boxer to Deontay Wilder.
This is debatable, you know. Tyson Fury in his mind believes that, but I guarantee if you speak to go across the ring from us now and talk to Deontay Wilder, he'll give you a polar opposite analysis. Both fighters are very, very different skill sets. Deontay Wilder is a sharp shooter. He doesn't waste punches. You know, he throws the kitchen sink every single punch. And I've had him in for sparring camp. I've had him in camp for sparring on a couple of occasions for a few weeks at a time. And believe me, Deontay Wilder has got dynamite in both fists.
And he's fast and athletic, isn't he? He really is an athlete.
His defence is deceivingly good also.
Oh, that's a good left hand from Fury. Pianeta saying there's nothing in it. Come on, let's have some more. And one up to the bell from Fury. But just one round remaining. And that is another 10-9 round in Tyson Fury's favour. It's going to be a complete showdown.
Of course it is, you know, and we're not shocked at that. But this little barrage of punches from Fury, and the footwork and the movement was fantastic. For people who love their boxing skill, it's a joy to watch for a big lump, for a massive lump like that, it really is.
Here's a thought, maybe Tyson Fury is holding back because Deontay Wilder, possibly his next opponent, is ringside. Maybe he doesn't want to show just how good he really is. Maybe he wants to, you know, keep something up his sleeve to give a full sense of security to Deontay Wilder. You never know. Tyson Fury is a crazy character. Maybe he's holding back. Maybe he could have knocked Pianeta out early, but he's held it back for a strategic reason.
A Machiavellian interpretation from David Hay. Well, last round, he's just checking that's the case. And I wonder if he's saying, well, now's the time, I can go out there and finish him. Nice show of respect from the two. It's actually, it's worth saying, it's been fought in a very good spirit. Been no nastiness, really.
No, there's been no real
aggro. No
aggro at all. Maybe a little too little from Pianeta. Maybe he needed to show a little bit more aggression because the technique and the mindset he's come into this fight with, you know, doesn't give him any chance of pulling off a stoppage victory, particularly in this last round.
Well, it's a southpaw Gypsy King again in the last 3 minutes, Barry.
Yeah, well, and he does that quite comfortable as well, as we've seen in the past. But no, I've been disappointed with Pianeta. I think Fury's been boxing tremendously well. But for a guy, this is not a massive chance for Fury. This is a fight that he knew he could win if he was anywhere near the form. But for Pianeta, this is the biggest chance of his career since his world title challenge, and he's come woefully short, I feel, and he hasn't made enough effort. Easier said than done against obviously someone like Fury, but he could have really, you know, gone for broke after around 7 or 8.
He could have tried harder. You see, obviously it's hard to look in from the outside and say you should, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But you know, I don't feel the intensity from him. I don't feel him really throwing the kitchen sink in any of his shots. He's just trying to play it safe and trying to hear the final bell.
But let's be honest, this is his world title fight, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt.
2 good body shots from Fury there, and switch the attack to the head. Pianeta says, come on, let's have another go.
But all the things you say for a fight, especially like younger fighters, learning fighters, you know, timing, distance, rhythm, dictating the pace, all those things, Fury's done all that tonight.
Look at the way Deontay Wilder on the far side of the ring next to Shelley Finkel, his advisor, is almost bouncing around. He's almost with every punch in him, isn't he? He's absolutely with Fury in there, and he wants him to come through. He wants him to look good. He wants that showdown.
No doubt. I know him personally, and he wants the big shot. You know, he's the WBC champion. You know, he's knocked every man out he's ever faced, and he wants the opportunity to be recognised. You know, on the world. In America, he's recognised as #1. He wants to be recognised worldwide as the #1. And to do that, beating Tyson Fury will really, really get a large majority of the fight fans on his side as the #1. And if he can do that, then obviously he's looking at big unification fights. The heavyweight division is looking real exciting. And now Tyson Fury's back, you know, clearly back on good form.
Last 30 seconds then of his second comeback fight. Again, Pianeta beckons Fury in as much as to say, well, you might have boxed my head off, but you've not hurt me. Let's see if you can just land one big shot and give me a chance. Give me a chance. He wants one last chance to throw a big left hand off the ropes, and Fury, in and out, is in no mood to give it. There's the final bell. He's had to go the distance, Fury, but I think those rounds have served him well. It's not a great reception that he's getting from the Belfast crowd, I have to say, but I think that's done him a lot more good than a quick knockout would have done.
No, of course he has. I mean, he has. He's got those rounds in the bank. He knows he can do that. He's ticked, like I say it all the time, he's ticked another box, on his comeback trail. People want to, nowadays, I think fans pay so much for tickets and everything else that they demand, they want excitement, action, they want knockouts, that's what they want. But as a purist, he was friends. He picks his shots well. We see here, I think the fitness, the pace of the fight was a decent pace for big fellas, and I think he was good. I think Tyson was really good tonight, and it's good to see him back. And this is what he does. He's not a guy who comes in swinging shots and giving everything his hand on his chest. No, he boxes with intelligence. The footwork was tremendous tonight.
There's no question about who's won. I don't think there's a lot of question about what the score is either. The referee, Steve Gray, wants the two fighters to come together centre ring. Going to be interesting to hear from Tyson Fury and his interpretation of what's gone down there. And also, it's going to be particularly interesting to hear Mr. Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, and there's a few security men around there, whether or not they're going to be able to keep him out of the ring with that belt, because I think he'll be wanting to make one or two well-chosen observations. Tyson Fury again in the corner, being congratulated by Ben Davison and by Ricky Hatton, getting his Gypsy King t-shirt on, and Steve Gray now, I think, will have them together centering. Thomas Triber is poised in there, and once Francesco Pianeta joins the referee, which he has done now, we can now get the score from Thomas Triber.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, our referee in charge, Steve Gray, scores the contest 100-90 in favor of your winner and still undefeated, Tyson Fury!
Well, there we are. Undefeated. Just before we hear from him, David, marks out of 10 for Tyson Fury tonight.
I was really happy with him. He did everything he needed to do. He didn't show too much. I think that may have been his plan, not to, scare Deontay Wilder. But for me, I'm very happy. Probably 8 out of 10 in terms of performance tonight.
Hey, look at that. He's got himself Deontay Wilder's belt. I'm not sure if that was voluntarily given up. I suspect it would have been.
He didn't take any unnecessary punches. He wasn't gassing. He was landing clean punches. He hurt his opponent. He did everything you would need to do in a warm-up fight before a big fight. For me, it was all about winning tonight and winning looking sharp and clean. And for me, I was very impressed.
Right, well, let's go up into the ring now, because Ronald McIntosh, the one man who can look Tyson Fury in the eye, is there to do precisely that.
Thank you very much indeed, John. Tyson Fury, congratulations. You've won every round on the card of the referee. A shutout victory over 10 3-minute rounds. Give us your assessment of the performance you've just produced.
I think it was a calculated boxing performance, as promised. We come here to get the good rounds in, a good 10 rounds with a good tough man. Quite durable. I was working on my boxing, trying to slip and slide, use the jab, and get the rounds in, really, and we was very happy with the performance.
Indeed, you did get the rounds in. More boxes checked on your continuing progression and return to the boxing ring. How did it compare to your first outing after 900+ days out?
Yeah, well, I thought that was a step up of opponent, and a better boxing display. It's no secret. I need the rounds. I need to box and move and slip and slide and prove I can still go the 10 rounds. And I've plenty left in the tank, which I did there tonight.
You most certainly did. Let's have a word with the man who's guiding this comeback, Frank Warren, Hall of Fame promoter. You've said that Tyson Fury's return to the boxing ring is a process, but negotiations going on for a showdown against the WBC champion Deontay Wilder. How advanced are those negotiations? Where is Tyson Fury in the process of his comeback?
We're very, very advanced. He's over there. Asked him. Get him over here.
Well, let's bring in the man holding that coveted green strap, the undefeated WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the bronze bomber, the self-styled Baptist, Deontay Wilder. Now here you are, Deontay, face-to-face with a man you came face-to-face with after your successful title defense against Arthur Speaker in January 2016 in Brooklyn. How far are negotiations between yourself and Tyson Fury for a showdown between the reigning WBC champ and the lineal heavyweight champ? Where are we in terms of those negotiations?
Are we ready now? This fight we are having is on. This is on. This fight is official. It's on, baby. Y'all can get ready. This is what we've been waiting for right here. The best fighting the best.
So you've said that the fight is on. When and where will the fight take place?
All will be revealed next week. Wait till next week. But the fight is on. It's on.
Well, Tyson Fury, listen to the ovation that this news has received. A fight between yourself, the lineal heavyweight champion, a man who's never lost his titles in the ring, against the reigning WBC champion. 40 wins out of 40, 39 inside the distance, and 98% knockout ratio. How much does that whet the appetite to face off against the undisputed WBC champ?
You know, we are two men who will fight anybody. This man has been trying to make a big fight with the other chump. I think we all know who we're talking about. The biggest shithouse inside box.
Tyson, we're live on BT Sport, we're live on Showtime. If we could keep the language clean, it would be most appreciated.
Bring it back here, man. Listen, they called. I answered. I said, send me the contract. They sent the contract. I said yes. And now he gets his chance to fight the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. My promise is, I got me rounds here tonight, 10 rounds. But one thing I promise when I go to Las Vegas is I'm knocking you the fuck out, boom. Boom.
Apologies once again for the industrial strength language, but these are two fighting men who are keen to get it on in the boxing ring. Deontay Wilder, you've heard what Tyson Fury has to say. You've heard how he thinks the fight is going to go when you guys square off in the ring. How do you forecast the fight between yourself and fellow undefeated former champ Tyson Fury?
Well, that's one thing Tyson Fury has never had. He had many belts, but he's never had the WBC belt. And if he ever think about having this belt, he better wake up and apologize to me, because he'll never have this. I can't wait to fight you, because I am going to knock you out. This I promise you. Every victim that stepped in the ring, I'd have knocked them out in devastating fashion. You've never been knocked out, but you're going to feel the experience, what it feels to get hit by the bronze bomber.
Listen, you can't knock out what you can't hit, bum. This man couldn't land a blow on me tonight. First of all, I want to thank my Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ for giving me the victory here tonight. And second, I just want to say, Belfast, you are beautiful! I love you guys! Every time I come to Belfast, it's like a homecoming. It's like a homecoming for the Gypsy King. And 25,000 people came in here tonight and stood in the rain to witness me fight. I promise you, I'm taking the WBC title, and I'll bring it back and defend it right here in Belfast.
Final word to you, Deontay, if you could make it brief, please.
This has been an amazing journey. Belfast, you guys has been great. Your welcome has been wonderful. You are wonderful people. I'm happy to be here. But I'm sad to tell you, Tyson Fury will not be bringing the WBC belt back here. You guys can see me.
Well, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, thank you very much indeed. We have to wrap it up there, but the fight has been set. The lineal heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury against the reigning, defending WBC heavyweight champion, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. The fight has been made. Stay tuned for further announcements as to where and when that fight will take place, but it is now official. Two champions facing off in the boxing ring for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World.
Well, back in our New York studios, Brian Custer alongside Steve Farhood. So Tyson Fury, he's victorious, remains unbeaten. And as he says, yes, it is official. So you will have Tyson Fury facing the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. And we can tell you that that fight will happen in either November or December, Las Vegas on Showtime pay-per-view. Your thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I think that was a very controlled effort by Fury. I think he did what he wanted to do the whole fight. Very well-picked opponent. He went rounds. He got a little bit of the rust off. He was never in any danger. Obviously, as a fan, you'd like to see him score a knockout late against a guy who's been stopped before. That didn't happen. But I think the value of the rounds was very important. And basically what we saw in there was Tyson Fury. All his good side and some of the things that are somewhat weaknesses.
And very quickly, when you think about a Tyson Fury-Deontay Wilder matchup?
First thing I think of, about halfway through the fight, Fury started fighting southpaw more often. I think of how much trouble Wilder had getting that jab started against Luis Ortiz, a southpaw. So I think we're going to see Fury use that tactic against Wilder when he fights him.
Of course, we're going to have more from Belfast, including the main event, Carl Frampton coming up against Luke Jackson. But first, let's show you some of the highlights and recap the co-main here. And let's start with the first round. And this was the round, really, he showed some movement here, Stevie.
Yeah, this was a little surprising this early in the fight that he would stay on the ropes and play like this. And I said, oh, boy, it's going to be another lack of focus fight for Tyson Fury. But in fact, he kept his focus the whole fight.
And in the fifth round, more combinations. And he started putting a little thunder on him.
Well, he needs to be busy. We see it on the sixth. Pianeta went to the ropes, and that was the beginning of the end of the effort for him. But it's very important for Fury to throw a lot of punches because he's not a big puncher.
Seventh round, they caught him for a low blow. I thought that was on the belt line.
Yeah, I thought it was as well. Pianeta getting a rest there. Fury did some good body work. Good left hooks to the body might have been his best punch the whole fight.
And this is kind of what you were talking about, switching back and forth and even going southpaw things. And you anticipate something that he would see against Wilder.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a little surprised he did it, actually, because obviously Wilder's sitting ringside seeing it all. You think maybe he'd keep some of his tricks in the bag before he fights so Wilder.
The interesting thing is Tyson Fury gets a unanimous decision. This guy, at one point, 376, when he was at the height of his personal issues, the drug issues, 276 in his first return fight against Sefri, 258 for this fight. And he says that he wants to get down lower. So it looks like he is focused and seems to be getting back to that old Tyson Fury.
Well, physically he looked good. He was able to move and use the ring for 10 rounds, which he hadn't done in a long time. And let's not forget, he was even lower when he fought Klitschko. I think 247.
46.
246.
Yeah.
So he can still get better, still get lighter if that works for him.
And, of course, the main event is coming up. The 2016 Fighter of the Year, Carl Frampton, has notched 2 victories since a majority decision loss in his rematch with Leo Santa Cruz. Now, the latest over a former 4-division champion, Nonito Donaire. Frampton's looking to claim his place atop that loaded featherweight division. But first, he has to get past that undefeated former Olympian, Luke Jackson. And, Steve, this is a division that, a lot like the welterweights, it's loaded with landmines, big names, elite fighters.
Carl Frampton's never really been out of the featherweight picture. The worst thing he did was lose a very close decision to Leo Santa Cruz in their rematch. He came back and he beat Donaire. That was a big win. So as we look at the featherweight division, Brian, it's loaded. And it's loaded both at the top and with the other notables who are not necessarily champions. Look at the records of the top 2 guys. Leo Santa Cruz only lost to Frampton. Gary Russell Jr. only lost to Lomachenko. A lot of good talent. Josh Warrington, a new champion, only 27 years old. That's the fighter who has the IBF title, most likely to fight Frampton next. Should Frampton be victorious? And then you look at the fighters where Frampton lies with the notables, Abner Maris, Jojo Diaz, who gave a good effort against Gary Russell. This is a very, very full division.
And, Frampton's been very vocal saying that if he's victorious tonight, that he wants that Warrington fight. and it's a fight that we're hoping to bring you right here on Showtime at the end of the year. You know, it has been 2 years since Carl Frampton has moved up to featherweight and took the title from the previously undefeated Leo Santa Cruz.
If Frampton is successful, he would be the first Irish two-weight division world champion, and he would be the first from Northern Ireland to accomplish the feat. Now, to do so, he's got to do something no one has yet done, and that is beat Leo Santa Cruz.
Well, now playing the role of Belfast, Northern Ireland, it's Brooklyn, New York. And we're about to find out who's going to run this town tonight. Nothing lackluster about the start to this one. Oh, and they are each trying to light each other up like Thursday night's Delta Aquarid meteor shower. The crowd is going crazy already.
Oh, that's the body work by Frampton. I'll tell you, both men are good body punchers, and they are ripping on the inside.
Try to light each other up on what has already been an electric encounter. Frampton sweeps in with the right hand, then lands a left hook,
top of the
and
year.
staggers Santa Cruz.
That's what I mean with Frampton.
Santa Cruz has been down once in his career, back in 2009, and he is tasting some of the power of Carl Frampton. Oh, lead right uppercut by Carl Frampton, right hand, and now Santa Cruz comes back with a 1-2. These guys throwing punches like millennials take selfies. Santa Cruz and Frampton unloading on each other. Oh, good counter right by Santa Cruz, and he catches him with the 1-2.
Both guys landed some good shots in that exchange.
Santa Cruz continues to lean forward, and it continues to pay dividends for Carl Frampton, although they both are scoring in this electrifying exchange. Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz putting on a show in the Big Apple. We are halfway through this 126-pound title fight. What a fight it's been. Digging away at the body now, both of them.
These are excellent punches by both men. Good body work by both, especially Frampton.
This is round 11.
Both have come out with conviction in this round, and you feel like each man wants to make a statement.
And they continue to throw heavy leather. Good pivot by Frampton. And they want to try to finish with a huge exclamation point. Unbelievable. Is this round 12 or is it round 1? Incredible pace. Incredible will.
Wow.
Being demonstrated by both Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton. What a night to be ringside in Brooklyn. Stand and cheer.
And the new WBA featherweight champion of the world, Carl the Jackal Frampton.
Irish eyes are smiling as Carl Frampton did it.
That victory gave him the 2016 Fighter of the Year award. They had a rematch. Obviously, Leo Santa Cruz got the victory there. And then all of a sudden, Carl Frampton spurred big changes for him in his career.
He only one loss in his career, and after that loss, he changed his manager, he changed his trainer, and he changed his promoter. All because Leo Santa Cruz made changes and was able to beat him in the rematch. So a lot of changes for Frampton. What hasn't changed, he's still among the best featherweights in the world.
And the main event, Carl Frampton, Luke Jackson, it is coming up. So, Steve, let's get right to keys to the victory for Frampton and for Jackson.
Well, we'll start with Carl Frampton. He has to use his jab. He's very quick-handed, and when he flashes that jab, he'll control distance. He needs to set a brisk pace. Against Nonito Donaire last time out, Frampton averaged only 46 punches per round, well below the division average. He's got to be busier in this fight. And go downstairs. Frampton, a strong body puncher. If he's committed, he can start to bring down Jackson's high guard. As for Luke Jackson, hands up. Jackson's considered an excellent defensive fighter, largely because he's consistent in keeping his hands high. He's got a hook to the body. That's easily his best weapon, and he has to get himself in position to use that punch. And finally, don't square up. When in close, Jackson has a tendency to abandon his boxing stance. If he does that, it'll cost him power.
Well, this will be an interesting one. You know, Carl Frampton said he wanted a knockout for this one. Luke Jackson said, listen, I think Carl Frampton's over the hill. He said, you fought Nonito Donaire. He was already over the hill, so they had a lot of back and forth going leading up to this fight.
Yeah, it's been a while since Frampton's gotten a knockout. Luke Jackson's an interesting fighter, Brian, because he's a former Olympian, excellent amateur, undefeated, but he hasn't fought the high level of opposition. That's what he's moving up tonight to do.
Well, it is time for the main event from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Carl Frampton, Luke Jackson. Let's send it back. John Rawling and former champions Barry Jones and David Hay for the call.
Criticism of Carl Frampton as the realisation grew that the big night was getting nearer and nearer. And you can hear the crowd now getting more and more excited because Carl Frampton is poised for the big entrance.
And now let's welcome to the ring the defending champion from right here, Belfast, Northern Ireland, Carl the Jackal
the eyes of the world on him, the eyes of Ireland on him, and what a proud man he must be. This is a phenomenal reception that he's getting. The place is packed, 25,000 watchers as he makes his way with trainer Jamie Moore to ringside, taking those protective coverings off his boots. Such a popular guy, such a grounded guy, so much a man of the people, and here he is, and just about every person who could be here, a boxing fan in Belfast, has broken the bank to be here. This is their moment, it's his moment, and this is what he's waiting for. Special David Hay.
It really is, and I've been fortunate enough to, share many training camps with Carl Frampton. We were both trained at the same time by Shane McGuigan, and I've seen him up close and personal in sparring sessions, pushing his body to the limit. He cuts no corners in training, and he's a genuine. He's one of the best fighters I've ever produced.
Terry O'Connor is having final checks in the corners on both fighters, making sure that everything is okay. There you see the tail of the tape, and you can see that Luke Jackson, the older man, slightly the taller man, both of them, I think, found it tough to make that weight division as ever. Carl Frampton had to work out the night before the weigh-in to lose those precious ounces, and you see a big reach advantage there for Luke Jackson, some 6 inches, but the crowd is ready, the fighters are just about ready, and Thomas Triber is ready as well. It's all about that interim belt being carried there by Martin Murray, Rocky Fielding in the corner as well. There's so much support from the camp, and Thomas Triber now will give the formal introductions for tonight's main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our featured bout, and it will be for the interim WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Brought to you by Greg Horn on behalf of Queensberry Promotions, along with their great sponsors, 32 Red and Foot Asylum. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge, John Williamson, MBE, along with the World Boxing Organization. President Francisco Valcarcel. Supervisor tonight, John Duggan. Our 3 judges scoring on a 10-point must-system will be Rose Lassen of the United States, Steve Gray of England, and Mike Fitzgerald of the United States. When the bell rings, our referee in charge, third man in the ring, will be Terry O'Connor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Windsor Park, here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, the time has arrived. This is our main event of the evening. Introducing to you first the challenger, fighting tonight out of the red corner. He's wearing black with gold and red, and weighed in at 8 stone, 12 pounds. Coming to us from Hobart, Tasmania, Australia, he brings an undefeated record with 16 wins. 7 of his 16 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luke Action Jackson! And his opponent across the ring in this main event, he is the defending champion, fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He's wearing white with blue and gold, and weighed in at 9 stone. Hailing from right here, Belfast, Northern Ireland. His professional record consists of 25 wins, just 1 defeat. 14 of his 25 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former WBA and IBF Super Bantamweight World Champion, the former WBA Super
sat at ringside for many big fights, but that was one of those occasions when you have to almost take your headphones away off your ears and just hear the deafening acclaim for both fighters. And here's Terry O'Connor giving the final instructions. Big Terry, a heavyweight fighter himself in his day, now 65 years old. He's retiring as a star-class referee this year, and very, very pleased to be taking control of this one. Well, Belfast expects, Frampton so badly wants to deliver, but can Luke Jackson be the ultimate party pooper?
You wouldn't put any money on it. You don't expect that, but I do expect him to be competitive, more competitive than what people have been talking, to be honest. I think he's a decent all-rounder, is Luke Jackson.
Never defeated Luke Jackson, 16 wins, as you've heard. He's never been the 12-round distance either. This is a massive step up in class for him. And Carl Frampton, such a very, very good judge of range. You'll see that slippery footwork moving in and out, and he doesn't look as though he's a particularly elusive fighter. My goodness, particularly early in fights, so difficult to tag, so difficult to get to, and at the same time, he's in there offering hurtful punches of his own.
It's all about the footwork. He just slides in and out of distance quite effortlessly, and then he can evade shots. He's never too far away to just slide that front foot back in and get those power shots that we see in there with the right hand. And it's the right hand that I was doing a little bit of studying for this. It was the right hand that I noticed that Frampton might have more success with. Jackson sometimes throws that jab, he brings it back to the chest and gives an opportunity for Frampton just to slide in or dip to the side, come back over with that right hand.
Just having a little look at Jackson, you sense, in these early stages. Carl, who Jamie Moore told me that the whole gym is in awe of his technical ability, David.
Yeah, you know, I've done the same, watching him spar, watching him hit the pads, hitting the bags. You know, he's got a really lovely balance to him. You know, the punch variety, the combinations. What I like about him is the way he counter-punches. He's an aggressive counter-puncher. He forces you to throw a shot, and he hits you with a blinding counter-punch. And then he puts clusters of punches together. His body assault's awesome as well. For me, you know, he's so well-rounded, and he's just getting better and better with every fight.
Josh Warrington is ringside. You can see him on the far side of the ring alongside Frank Warren, the IBF champion. And the plan is, if Frampton can come through this and come through it comfortably with no damage done, that he would go on to a fight against Luke Warrington before the end of the year. And what a tremendous showdown that would be. It's a quiet opener, Barry.
I think Frampton's done well. I think he's done exactly what David said. He puts pressure on you, forces you to work when you don't want to, and that's when the gaps appear.
He doesn't like hitting gloves. He doesn't like missing punches. He wants to land clean. He wants to catch the judge's eyes. And for me, that is doing the right thing. You know, he loads up on shots after he's fainted. You know, I really like the fact that he doesn't punch blind. He doesn't just throw a 1-2 left hook combination without opening up first.
Opening round of this 12-rounder, the interim WBO featherweight title, which Frampton owns, and he's coming on strong in the closing stages. WBO regular champion Oscar Valdez had a broken jaw and is out of the ring at the moment. Maybe that's a fight for somewhere further down the line, maybe for next year, but that's the end of the opening round, and a round for Carl Frampton.
Brian Custer in our Showtime studios here in New York City. SHOWBOX New Generation returns Friday, September 21st with undefeated super featherweight John Fernandez taking on Shaquille Foster. And on September 28th, undefeated lightweight sensation Devin Haney seeks his 20th straight win against three-time title challenger Juan Carlos Burgo. SHOWBOX The New Generation, September 21st and September 28th on Showtime. Let's get you back out to Belfast, round two. Carl Frampton, Luke Jackson.
In Frampton's favour, and instructions being given by Jamie Moore in the corner. Fairly satisfied with the way things have gone thus far. Luke Jackson, though, didn't look particularly as though he was overawed, didn't look as though he was going to freeze. He's had problems of his own, like Tyson Fury. He's had demons that he's had to overcome in the past. Drug problems, suffered from depression as well. And he'll freely tell you if you take the time to talk to you, and he's an engaging, charming young fella. He says, quite simply, I was saved by boxing.
It's a story that you hear so many times in you know, from different boxers around the world. Boxing, you know, it's such a working class sport that it can't save people from problems. But he has a problem himself here, Jackson. What Frampton did was clever. He went out and he showed what the step-up in class was all about. Put it right on Jackson. Didn't allow Jackson to get any success or get any rhythm to his work at all. And that's Jackson's job now. That's his problem, to try and find a little bit of space to let his hands go and maybe cause Carl a few problems. Because at the minute, Carl's in control, as David talked about earlier on in another fight. Got a nice little rhythm going very early in the fight.
Super confident starts. You look at the people who Frampton's beaten. Steve Molitor, Kiko Martinez a couple of times, Scott Quigg, Leo Santa Cruz, of course, who he memorably lost to in the second fight, and how he'd love to have a rubber match there. Nonito Donaire. Luke Jackson's got nobody like that on his resume, and so he's having to step up here. But as Billy Hussein, his trainer, said, you don't really know about stepping up a level until you actually try to do it. And here he's got his great chance.
Yeah, you don't know how good you are until you get in there, and this is Jackson's opportunity to show he's world class. He's got an impressive unbeaten record, but he has, you said, going through his record, looking at the resume of the opponents on that record, you know, there's nothing to remotely can come close to Frampton's resume.
Solid body shots there from Carl Frampton, who's moving beautifully as ever.
Sorry, just before that body shot, he clipped Jackson with a left hook on the chin as well. You just see him have a little blink.
You know, it's very, very sharp, crisp shot. And Frampton, for me, he's so calm under pressure. He's always looking for an angle, always feinting, always moving his head.
Jackson's going to have to find something else in the little burst of attack, just to keep getting him a little bit of space. And there's so much pressure. Well, you said earlier, David, that front foot of Frampton puts him in the pressure from the offset.
Without even throwing big clusters of punches, he's already put Jackson in his uncomfort zone. Without really teeing off and letting his hands go. Just his sheer physical status in front of him is really sort of putting Jackson in his uncomfort zone. Really is getting under his skin here.
There's a little nick, I think, in the right eye of Carl Frampton. We'll have a closer look at that, but it looks as though there's just a little bit of grazing there. May have been caused by heads, may have been caused by punches, but there's just a little bit of marking around that right eye. We're coming to the closing stages of the second round. We're going to take a little break, but of course we'll get a close-up there. Just looking at him right in front here. Maybe it's something and nothing. Back to his corner, but Carl Frampton is boxing really well.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood, back in our New York studios, so 2 rounds down. And, you know, listen, Windsor Park is a place that, on that soccer pitch, seats 19,000. Over 23,000 there. We've seen out of Carl Frampton first rounds.
Well, it's a big fight for him because he's in Belfast, his hometown, and he's fought here 12 times before. So far, all the effort is coming from Frampton. I see very little coming from Jackson, and if he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to be more aggressive and let his hands go, which he's not doing yet.
See if it happens here in round 3. Let's get you right back out to Belfast.
Back to Windsor Park, and there you can see that damage I was telling you about to the right eye. We've got Kerry Case in that corner, who's a very good corner man. He's gone to work on it, but just a little bit of marking, early stages of the fight. Not serious, but he could do without it.
Yeah, he could. You know, Frampton does have quite delicate skin around his eyes. I remember a couple of times in training camp, in sparring, he got little nicks under his eyes. They all healed up before the fight, but you know, he's got quite thin skin around the eyes. That's why his defense has to be as good as it is. He can't afford to be getting caught with silly little jabs and little hooks, because he does mark up pretty bad, pretty quick.
But another round for Carl there. 2-0 now, surely, Barry?
Yeah, without a doubt, and he's boxing well, and he's dictating the pace. You know, he's taking the centre ring, and he's not allowed Jackson to get back into the fight yet. Sometimes it takes you a few rounds to get into the fight, and the experience from Frampton, he started fast, quick, and made this guy show what this guy was world class is all about. But Jackson finished the round with a lovely straight right hand, and hopefully for his corner, for him, gets a little bit of confidence of that.
He ducked slow, Jackson, but already signs of that fitness. Left hand from Jackson was definitely low, and he's clipped by a right hand, and just momentarily the legs didn't look too solid, and he's starting to unload here, Frampton, but Jackson is prepared to fire back, and he knows that this is his great opportunity. But look at the variety of shot coming in from Carl Frampton.
Yeah, Frampton's really warming up now, really letting the punches flow, and this is what I've seen in sparring so many times, and he can do this all night long. He's got a massive engine. He's very heavy-handed. Everybody who I know spars with him say they can't believe. I'm talking about welterweights, light middleweights. They all tell me he's crazily heavy-handed. I know he weighs more whilst he's sparring, and he's sort of drained a little bit in the ring here. But with his small gloves, little 8-ounce gloves, they really start taking a toll on opponents.
And here he is, putting the pressure on Luke Jackson here in the third round at Windsor Park. If you're just joining us, where have you been? It's been a tremendous Irish boxing occasion, and Carl Frampton, the star of the show, is so far producing a star performance, and that's a solid left hand.
I think Jackson was a little bit more off balance. He threw the right hand himself. I think one foot was off the floor. That's the problem that he's got, is that uppercut of Frampton. That's causing all the problems for Jackson right now.
Still, the rain comes down and the little trickle of blood oozes from that right eye of Carl Frampton, but not sufficiently bad to be in any sense affecting his vision. And you can see he's an absolute study of concentration as he tries to make scoring shots against Luke Jackson in front of potentially his great opponent for the end of the year, Josh Warrington, sitting watching, the IBF champion, alongside promoter Frank Warren.
Lovely left hook there, just a second to go forward. Again there, lovely uppercut there from Frampton. Getting the range now with the shots, picking them well. Just a second ago, he just took a little step back and threw a lovely left hook.
And the crowd loving that display of virtuosity.
And Jackson's having a right, he's just trying to have a go, Jackson, but he's too just route one. He's a neat boxer, but not enough variety in his work.
Yeah, he's giving it his best. He's trying, he's letting his hands go, but he's getting countered heavily, which is then stopping him unloading like he would like to.
So we go across to the far side of the ring now, where Big Ronald is with Josh Warrington.
Very interesting observer here ringside is the reigning IBF World Champion Joshua, watching this with intense concentration. What do you make of the performance so far from Frampton?
He's taking his time, he's just working out Luke Jackson out. I don't think Luke's got enough to work out. I just don't think he's strong enough whatsoever. His arm, what he's throwing is all basic. I think Carl's just feeling him out. He's breaking him down, and I think he'll start working out his time, and probably a couple more rounds, and I think he can get him out there.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Josh. Speak to you soon.
Josh Warrington there with Big Ronald, and there you can see Kerry Case working on that eye of Carl Frampton, and the damage appeared to have worsened slightly. There was a bit of a spattering of blood down his face in the closing seconds of that round.
Yeah, there was. As long as he's not going into the eye, it won't cause him a problem. He's experienced enough to not let a cut bother him if it's not affecting his vision. But I think Josh Warren was right. I think I think he's a little bit too basic. Is Luke Jackson for Frampton? He gives him a bit more angles, and maybe doesn't seem to have the strength, more, if anything, more than the power to keep Frampton at bay right now.
Carl Frampton really did lay his cards on the table this week. He said, I'm looking for a stoppage win. He knows that a lot of his fights have been going long of late as another right hand thuds home, and Carl is looking for the stoppage here. He's looking to, well, with his big opponent potentially at ringside, Josh Warrington. A lot of people are saying, well, Josh has got a chance because he's super fit, got a great engine, looked terrific against Lee Selby, and Carl wants to make a statement.
He really does, and so far he's making that statement. He's gone a distance a few times recently, and he wants a stoppage, he wants a knockout. This is the Carl. This is a motivated Carl Frampton who wants to show the world that he is the #1 on the planet. And Josh Warrington, after watching this performance, he's going to know he's easy to get in the gym and really raise his game, because Josh can't claim to have fought anybody as good as Carl Frampton is, particularly tonight.
That's the voice of former world heavyweight champion David Hay, alongside former world super featherweight champion Barry Jones, commentating at ringside here at Windsor Park this evening in the 4th round of 12, this interim WBO featherweight title fight. And Frampton is really planting his feet, Barry, trying to get big purchase on these shots.
You say feet as well, more than planting his feet. When Jackson tries to attack, as we see here, he just takes a little slide out the distance, and then either counters with a long left hook or just moves to the left or the right and then goes again, and Jackson's struggling to find the target. He's trying to attack Jackson when he can, but as Warrington said earlier on, just a little bit too basic I think, for Frampton, and at the minute it's all comfortable here for Carl Frampton.
Jamie Moore said that he, as much as any fighter, as we watch him here, got a superb judgment of distance and of timing. And he said you can't coach that, it's innate. Jackson getting in with the right hand, but there, look at the response from Frampton.
Yeah, the only way you can practice that type of distance is in competitive rounds of sparring and world-class fights. And that's what Carl Frampton's been doing for years. He's been fighting at a super high level. He's been sparring the very best in the world, traveling to the States, sparring world-class opposition. And when the punches are coming at him, he's cool, he's calm. Just then he took a shot, he's completely and utterly unfazed. You know, he is genuinely world-class. And you can see the gulf, you can see the difference here. Just then he traded the right hand with Jackson, but his shot landed on Jackson's chin, and Jackson's shot went right over his head. It was a planned assault, a planned attack. That he's setting traps for Jackson here, and he's having it all his own way.
But Jackson's still in there. He'll hope he can.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood back in our New York studios. 4 rounds in the book. Always called Carl Frampton the king of the counter.
Indeed so, and what it looks like to me is that Frampton is a class above. Jackson not only is a class below, but knows he is. And as a result, can't decide what to do. He looks like a beaten fighter, both mentally and physically.
Former world champion Danny Swift Garcia, Showtime Sean Porter square off for the vacant WBC welterweight title September 8th on Showtime Championship Boxing. It's presented by Premier Boxing Champions. Let's get you back out to Belfast.
Welcome back to Belfast, to Windsor Park to be precise, and here's some of the action from the 4th round.
Yeah, no, what it is Jackson having a go, and they're really trying to make an effort, but just Carl fasted off the mark. As you said, that the judgment of distance and timing, just a little bit better all round, and I think it's, at the moment, very comfortable for Carl Frampton.
The Jackson camp believe that Frampton faded in the closing stages against Nonito Donaire, that he put too much in the Garcia fight before that in the early stages, and that if he is struggling with stamina as the fight unfolds, they believe that the super fit Jackson is going to be able to fight his way back after what they almost inevitably accepted was going to be an early Frampton advantage. The question now, and he might be 4 rounds down, is whether Luke Jackson can do that.
It's all good and well being fit and strong and having great endurance, but you can have that literally punched out of you. You can't rely on just using your fitness in the later rounds if you're taking concussive, clean punches like Frampton's landed on Jackson. You know, maybe if it was a nip and tuck fight, he'd have a lot going down the back straight, but when you're getting hit heavily to the body and head, you fade later.
And also missing is the worst thing. You miss with a shot, you've got to drag it all the way back then. You haven't had the satisfaction of hitting the target where it stops.
100%, correct. You're 100% right there. It takes more energy missing a shot than it does landing 2 shots.
Luke Jackson, who's trained by Billy Hussein, who's had some star fighters, people like Danny Green, Sakio Bika, other names as well from the Australian sport, but they haven't had to prosper against somebody of the talent maybe of Carl Frampton. But this is better from Jackson. He's having his moments here.
He is, but it's only when Carl is allowing him, and you commend the effort of Jackson. But every time Carl starts to do some stuff, the right uppercut just a few combinations ago was just superb, really was. And it's all about the footwork, John. All of he's getting in out of distance, doing what he wants, and it's all about the feet.
Frampton can smell blood now. I can see it. I've seen that look in his eye before. He knows he's got Jackson where he wants him. He's teeing off his shots, landing big left hooks to the body. And you can see it in Jackson's body language now. He's not enjoying it in there.
The body shots maybe are starting to take the toll. Are the gloves going to start lowering? Carl Frampton said all along, he's decent, I'm world class. Is he going to be starting to show that now? Big effort from Jackson in the early stages of this round, but it's Frampton who's finishing it, the strong sense. And there's blood now coming from the nose of Luke Jackson and his right eye as well. Looks as though it's starting to suffer, and some bruising on the right cheek. There's another sweet right hand from Frampton as the blood just trickles down from the corner of that right eye once again.
See, that's not even fast hands for Frampton. That's just really good timing with that right hand. Jackson's having a real good go, to be fair. He's trying to get his punches off, but he's second best at everything right now, really is. But to me, he doesn't look like he's going to fall over. No, he's having a good go, and even though he's caught with some good shots, he's never looked like he's going to wilt, to be honest. He's just getting totally outboxed right now.
This is being watched live over in Australia, and Australian viewers will be hoping that Luke Jackson can still produce the upset, but Carl Frampton seems to have taken the first 5 rounds. In the corner, they have problems, Barry.
Yeah, they do, but they're trying to stick to their plan. You see that beautiful uppercut there for Carl Frampton. They're just feinting with the jab there, just touch the glove, get that shot. It was a great shot selection there from Frampton. But Jackson, they have to stick to their plan, keep a tight defence. They're trying to get big Carl work, and like David said, hoping the Carl falters and gets a bit tired and they can go to work.
It's not the greatest plan to hope your opponent runs out of energy. You need to find the plan to make him run out of energy. You can't just hope that he runs out of energy as he's done it in previous fights. Carl Frampton fights at a tremendous pace, and he feints, he moves his feet, he moves his head, he uses a lot of energy, but he seems comfortable in there. He's throwing power punches, and he seems to be getting better and better and faster as the rounds go on.
We're moving now into the 6th. It's a 12-rounder. Oh, good shot from Jackson. First scoring punch of the round, and that'll have caught Carl Frampton's attention. It's been all Frampton so far, pretty much. He's taken the first 5 rounds on our card. Jackson's had his moments, but not enough concerted pressure. But that was a decent left hand, Barry.
He was just feinting with the jab there, and then committing himself and jumped in with a nice long left hook. This is what we said before the fight, and I think Richie Woodall was saying he's a decent fight, he's a good fighter, and Carl might not have it all his own way. He has had it all his own way so far. But Jackson, I don't think Jackson's been really seriously hurt yet. He's taking a few good body shots. Doesn't look like wilting as such. He's just struggling to get any rhythm in his work. And he's just realised sometimes you're stepping up to the next level. The things you do normally are not working right now.
Luke Action Jackson, he calls himself. Well, he needs plenty of action from here on, because he needs to start winning some rounds and winning them pretty quickly, unless, of course, he can find something to put Frampton down and maybe finish by knockout. But no suggestion so far that he's going to have that sort of power. But again, they're good counter punches from Jackson, but it provokes a really solid right hand and then a crunching body shot from Carl Frampton.
It's the strength, the difference in strength is so obvious to see. Frampton's body and form is holding together. He leans back and he's still on form. Jackson's flailing, he's missing shots, he's falling over the place. He looks untidy, whereas Carl looks so cool and calm and in control. For me, I cannot see Jackson lasting the distance, not the way it's going like this.
To Jackson's credit, he's trying to fire off the ropes. So what Carl's doing, he's taking that big step out of distance. So when Jackson does try to fire back, but he's a tough, brave kid, he's just short of the target, and then Carl goes again.
He is tough, Luke Jackson. He's never been stopped, undefeated in 16 fights in a professional career, which goes back to 2013. Carl Frampton has touched down on the canvas in previous fights, but he doesn't look as though he's in any sort of trouble here. Oh, caught by a right hand there. There's a curse of the commentator. He walked straight into that one. It landed flush, Barry.
Fantastic shot there from Jackson. So that gives him a little bit of confidence to go forward now.
But you saw absolutely zero response in Carl Frampton's face. He took Jackson's best right hand on the chin and didn't even blink.
Shut me up, but it didn't worry Carl.
He didn't. It was a huge shot. Sweat sprayed everywhere. But Frampton has a great chin. People underrate his chin. I've seen him hit with big shots in the past. It doesn't faze him.
Oh, great uppercut. Right hook followed by the uppercut. Jackson takes it well, though, and stays clear-eyed, showing that he's got a good chin as well. He's had a better round here, Luke Jackson, but has he done enough to win it? Somehow, I doubt that is the case. He's got a bit of mouth damage as well, as he goes a little bit tired back to his corner, and knowing that he has got a huge mountain to climb.
Brian Custer, Steve Farhood in our New York studios. So we're coming to the halfway point of this fight here, Stephen. I don't know if Luke Jackson can survive too much more of this. I mean, he's eating some nasty uppercuts and body shots.
The uppercut has been a beautiful punch for Frampton. If Jackson gets stopped, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a left hook to the body. The last 2 rounds, we've seen Jackson try to pick it up, give more effort. It hasn't been effective yet.
It's been a long time since Carl Frampton stopped someone.
7 fights ago.
Let's get you out to Belfast, round 7.
Halfway point of the main event here in Belfast, and some quality work from Frampton.
It really is. That right hand and then the uppercut to finish it was fantastic. They're just seeing early in the round there, Jackson landed with a lovely right hand. Really was. And good for him. He deserves a little bit of success because he is trying to have a go. He's just, he stepped up a level. He may be just a little bit beyond him, but he's travelled the other side of the world, and he's not going to go down without a fight. He's having a crack, but Carl Frampton's on. He's on form. Frampton, he is. Well, the judgment, the distance, the timing, spot on, and that uppercut, that right down to the top of the uppercut in the previous round was real class.
When the fight was first announced, Luke Jackson, as ever, there was the adoring Belfast public in attendance, ready to celebrate Carl Frampton. But he said, make no mistake, he said, I've come from right the far side of the world. My dad's come over here for the first time. He's left Australia for the first time to be with me. I'm not just here to make up the numbers. I'm here to win this fight. And he'll still be cherishing that belief as we move into the second half of the fight.
Yeah, but every round that goes by, that belief starts to dwindle. And the lack of success that Jackson's had in the first 6 rounds, is going to start playing on his mind. He's going to need to start taking more risks. He's going to start having to force the action, and by doing that, Carl Frampton, who's a master counterpuncher, will start having his way even more. So for me, Jackson needs to do something he hasn't quite done just yet. And that body shot's a good start.
Yeah, good body shot. You know what it's about now, David. You say something and suddenly it's precisely what you said wasn't going to happen. It does happen. And that was a quality left hook from Luke Jackson, but back comes Frampton. Jackson's having a bit more success in this round. He's getting through with some of these shots and he's showing impressive tenacity, but he needs to rock Frampton, you suspect. He needs to really change the rhythm of the fight and to force him back.
I don't think he has the power to force Frampton back, but what he's doing is every time Frampton stops throwing, he's throwing with him. And because Frampton's hasn't been sliding out of distance in this round, then Jackson's been able to hit the target.
I think perhaps a little bit more success, Luke Jackson.
But Carl Frampton doesn't mind that. He's purposely stepping into range. He's not stepping back out of range now. He's forcing a pace. He realises that Jackson's running out of steam and he's forced him to fight at a pace he doesn't want to do.
You've just got to be careful it's not complacency because he's dominating, that he gets caught with something. Because I've been watching Jackson and he got a decent right hand, especially slipping the jab and coming over the top.
Yeah, I agree. But he knows in himself he's landed his best shot and nothing happened. So for me, Carl Frampton's doing the right thing. He's imposing himself. He's putting the pressure on. But you're right, he is taking more risks, unnecessary risks. But he's looking to impress this Belfast crowd. He wants to close the show in emphatic fashion.
The screws now, isn't
he really does. He really is. I've been in the corner of letting him know, right, then you've got this in control. Let's start going to work now.
He probably knows, well, it will know better than anybody about what power Luke Jackson may or may not have, and maybe the fact that he's just walking into range here, walking in close, indicative of now an assessment which is formed that he doesn't have the power to truly trouble him. Better round that from Luke Jackson, but not enough.
Nowhere near enough for me, nowhere near enough. He gave it a good go, and for me, he's showing heart, he's showing determination, he's showing all the things you would want your fighter to if he was way over his head like he is in with Frampton. But I'm looking at him now in the corner, he's looking pretty sorry for himself. Clean shots landing in that round, and he gave it his all, but just not enough.
Barry, just talk us through this.
It was a beautiful body shot, it really was, and he's whipping across the target as well there, Jackson. So he really dug his bit on that gumshoe in that round, and a real concerted effort. But then Frampton just fires back, and because he's the heavier handed, punches through the target. It's another round for Frampton for me.
Keep that eye closed. Hold that hand out, cover it and chop it. Yeah, so we don't see it. His heart broken now, yeah? He's just been brave as fuck. Give him an excuse.
That's how Barry's got it every round to Carl Frampton. Jamie Moore and Carl Frampton have worked out an impressive coach-fighter relationship. A lot of big names here at ringside tonight, and I don't know if you caught sight in the background in that between rounds there. One of our great Olympic performers of years gone by, former gold medalist Mary Peters here at ringside watching on, and lovely to see her here and looking so well. On the front foot, Luke Jackson again trying to carry the fight to Frampton, but Frampton walking him down.
I sort of feel for Jackson because I've been in this situation above my level, and you're trying to fight, but everything you try is just not, you're having a little bit of success, but it's not quite making a dent.
Yeah, Frampton not taking a backward step now. He's just really, as you said, tightening, turning the screws on him. And it seems like a matter of time before one of these big shots really shake Jackson to his boots.
Punch landed after the referee had said break. Terry O'Connor saying you might be one of the most famous fighters in the world, but listen to what I say. When I say break, I mean it. Eighth round here.
Sharp right hand there from Jackson. So just when you think he's starting to wilt, or he's starting to feel, as they said in the corner, feel sorry for himself, I think it's wrong. I think he fires back and he seems like he's out of his depth, but he's having a good go. But again, those uppercuts, that lovely left uppercut there from Frampton, and they are shots that break your soul, those uppercuts. They really take the fight out of you.
There's another good shot as he switches the attack to the head. Another solid left hand from Frampton, whose fitness, according to his trainers, they reckon he's 10% stronger and fitter than he was for the Nonito Donaire fight. They say that the tests that he's had prove that. I'm not going to argue.
For me, he looks as good as he's ever looked, you know, and I've always thought Carl Frampton has been world class, but you're right, he looks more than 10% better than he did do for the Donaire fight. You know, his footwork, his time, his punch power, the volume of punches, the power of those punches have been drastically increased. So whatever he's been doing in training with Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis, he just needs to keep that going.
That's good work from Jackson again, as Frampton got inside and landed a body shot, and then was perhaps guilty of just standing there, maybe admiring his work a little bit, and Jackson fired back and landed a couple of scoring shots.
I think
beautiful uppercut followed by the body shot. Absolute classic. That's a pain that Luke Jackson knows all about. He's bravely up on his feet, but how much does he have left after that? Tremendous left hook, and now Frampton is going looking for him, looking to find more of the same, knowing perhaps that one more big shot might finish the fight in the closing stages of this 8th round. He's looking for the body shot. Jackson bending low, trying to protect himself, trying to eat up precious seconds to the bell to end the 8th round, and Frampton can't quite find it. Big right hand, and he groggily holds on and somehow gets through to the bell to end that 8th round. But what a classic body shot from Carl Frampton.
He really turned it in there. He's been looking for that one all night. You know, he does a short little left hook to the head to raise the arm, the right arm, and he whips that left hook to the body. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. There you go. Boom.
It's
right into the solar plex. There's nothing really you can do with them shots.
And what a fantastic shot. He just lifts the elbows out, but he hits to the head. You're looking to protect your head, and then whips down to the body. There's not loads of power in it, so it's a lovely whipping action. And Jackson's credit, you know, he's getting systematically beat up, and he's gone down there, and he's tried to fight back, but no, it's a real uphill task for him now.
I'm sitting tonight at ringside alongside two tremendous boxing technicians, and both of them recognised the quality of what we just saw there.
It's perfect stuff, and he's been looking for that shot. I've seen him throw that same shot maybe 15, 20 times, and he's just sort of hit the elbow. This time round, it's snuck through and hit the solar plexus, and that's just changed the dynamics of the fight.
Yeah, it's a question now of whether or not Jackson can survive, and he'll have been told, Carl Frampton, let's get on him. Keep the pressure on there, Barry.
Yeah, of course. Well, what he's doing, Frampton, is he's boxing the guy just ever so slightly below his level. And he's doing what you should do. He's dominating, and he's telling him who's boss. That's all that is. That's all that is. Jackson's having a good go. He's a good fighter, but he's not quite the level of Frampton. So saying it's Frampton's best performance, it's not the best opponent he's faced, but he's done everything right, and that's all you can ask for your fighter. He's done everything right. And all you can ask for Jackson, he's trying his best, and that's all you can ask for him.
Well, fair play. He seems to have recovered pretty well from that crunching body shot that had him down for the first time there in the 8th round.
He's fighting for survival here. You know, he's just literally letting his hands go and just trying to keep Carl Frampton off of him, because Frampton's on a seek and destroy mission. He knows he can hurt him. He's put him on the floor heavily.
Pretty sure he's not been on the floor before, and I don't think he's, you know, I'm prepared to underline utter certainty that he's never been hit so hurtfully as that.
No, and I'm sure he has a granite chin. He's taken some big shots and stood up, but there's not much you can do with a shot that hits you in the solar plexus like that.
Oh, it's another one, right hand this time, and he's hurt. It's all in, it's all over, the towels come in, the fight's over, his corner have pulled him out, and Carl Frampton gets the stoppage. A tremendous performance here. It was another big right hand to the body Left hand that put him down in the 8th round. Right hand did it this time in the 9th. And Carl Frampton has got rid of this tough Australian and has sent out a message to Josh Warrington at ringside. I'm ready for you, and I can still do it. That was impressive, Barry.
I think he did what he did. He did a guy who he was better than. He dominated from the offset. I think his time and his distance was good. Made Jackson miss when Jackson tried to fire back. The uppercuts were superb from round one onwards. The body shot was great, and the corner did the right thing for Jackson there. Jackson wasn't very happy with it, but they did the right thing. They saved him from himself. The kid had a good effort. He was never going to win the fight.
Yeah, great corner work there. Many corners would have allowed it to carry on, and Jackson would have ended up in a bad way.
You can be too brave.
You can be nothing worse than a brave corner man.
I was going to say, sometimes
all credit. Yeah. Australians also, they're synonymous with allowing their fighter to go as far as he can go. And for me, that was the perfect stoppage. The referee saw the towel, and he was going to jump in anyway at any stage. So great performance, conclusive victory, and for me, that's the best Carl Frampton I've ever seen. Genuinely, and I've seen him for many years, worked with him in the gym. I've never seen him look like that.
He was very good tonight, and unquestionably that was a step up, a clear step up from his performance against Nonito Donaire, I think, and we were celebrating that. You know, I mean, that was a complete performance.
I think it was a complete performance, but Jackson wasn't Donaire, so you can't get away with the stuff that you couldn't dominate Donaire like that. So let's not get carried away with that. I just think the occasion, the whole thing, his life boy dream of boxing in this stadium, and he's done that now, and he didn't, with a punch perfect display, and be thankful of that. But bigger tests await.
Well, let's look again at how it came. That was the first shot which hurt him, and then he was all over the place, and the referee responded when the towel came in.
The corner know their man. They know Jackson. They're with him every day. They're watching him sparring. They've been in his corners for all of his fights. They know when he's done. They've never seen him take this much punishment, get dropped, get hurt, get pushed around the ring. It was only a matter of time before Frampton knocked him unconscious. And, you know, I'm sure the crowd would have loved that, but, you know, Jackson's corner did the right thing. They did the right thing. He earned his money here tonight.
Your attention, please, due to an incident, the railway bridge is not available. Please take directions from the stewards on leaving the stadium. Thank you for your cooperation.
So the celebrations are underway, and they are delighted with the performance. And in a moment, we're going to be able to go into the ring and hear from Carl Frampton. But before then, let's get the formal announcement of the result from Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 1 minute, 21 seconds of round number 9. Referee Terry O'Connor waves off the contest. Therefore, your winner by way of technical knockout and still interim WBO featherweight champion of the world, Carl Frampton.
Lovely respect between the two fighters, and a very impressive performance from Carl Frampton. Josh Warrington watching on. He'll have his own opinion of what he's seen. He'll be ready for Carl, but Carl now is with Paul Dempsey in the ring, and we can hear from the man of the moment.
Just said. Obviously, BT Sports having some technical difficulties, especially with the audio of the mic. You can hear it in the arena, in the ring, but not through the broadcast here. Hopefully they can get that rectified, and you can hear some reaction from Carl Frampton. Back in our New York studios, Brian Custer, Steve Farhood. So obviously they had some audio problems there. You saw Josh Warrington get into the ring. So it seems like that this is something that's going to happen towards the end of the year. Carl Frampton, Josh Warrington now fight.
I'd like to know where the fight's going to happen, because Warrington's from England, and obviously Frampton is from Belfast, Northern Ireland. It was a dream for Frampton to fight at Windsor Park. First fight there in 64 years. So on a personal level, it was a big win for him. But it also proved that he's ready for a shot at one of the titles.
Yeah, it was almost one of those fights as you watched it that Carl Frampton was looking at Luke Jackson and said, listen here, kid, there's levels to this game.
Yeah.
And I'm a level above you, and he showed it.
You heard the British announcers talking about the fact that Frampton never looked this good. Well, we have to remember who he was fighting. He wasn't fighting Nonito Donaire, who's maybe a future Hall of Famer. He was fighting Luke Jackson, who wasn't proven at this level. So a good win for him. Again, fighting before the home folk, that's important. But if Warrington is the guy, that's a fight we'd love to see.
Yeah, Carl Frampton gets his first stoppage in 3 years. Let's look back at some of the highlights of the main event. And let's start early on in round 2 here, Steve.
Well, you're going to see Frampton's hand speed was a big difference in this fight. And the versatility of his offense. He punches upstairs, he punches downstairs. He very quickly showed Luke Jackson what you referred to, Cus, that Jackson wasn't in the same class.
I love that uppercut that he was unveiling throughout this fight, along with the body work.
And round 6, right hands, right uppercuts. Again, a good mix of punches from Frampton. There's the uppercut. That landed flush a couple of times. And in round 8, I said watch for the left hook to the body. There it is. It was to the stomach or the solar plexus. And that was really the beginning of the end.
Yeah, then comes basically the 9th. And boy, that was Frampton really started to tee off for him. This is the end of the 8th round there, and he survived it. But then the 9th, it was a good night.
Yeah, and I credit Billy Hussein, who's a veteran trainer from Australia, for throwing in the towel. We've seen too many fights where corners are braver than the fighter. And Luke Jackson, we know, is just not the kind of fighter who's going to surrender.
Yeah, so Carl Frampton gets the victory, TKO, in round 9. You know, it's interesting. This was Carl Frampton's first stoppage at featherweight.
That's
at
right.
126.
Not only his first stoppage in 7 fights, but first stoppage at featherweight. Chris Avalos, our old Showbox buddy, was the last fighter he stopped. That was 3.5 years ago.
Wow. Of course, we're going to have a lot more on what we've got coming up on the end of the year as well. But first, we want to give you a look at what's coming up on Showtime.
Yeah, I train to win. You know, I don't train for nothing else.
I want the belt. Simple as that.
I still feel like no one could beat me.
I can beat him to the punch, and I can hurt him.
I got power too, on both hands.
I need this fight for everything. Let's do it.
I come spar your ass and beat your ass. We ain't trying to spar, we're trying to make some money. This the Danny Garcia show. Fuck out of here.
Tonight, the Daily News welcomes you to the Golden Gloves, the world's oldest and largest amateur boxing tournament.
If he's out of the gym, he's in trouble.
In amateur boxing, you never lose. You either win or you learn.
Every time I used to get a champion, I'd say I beat the street. But when somebody get killed out there, the street beat me.
If I become Golden Glove champion, sky's the limit.
You know, you saw the preview, Danny Garcia and Sean Porter coming to Barclays on September. That's a really good fight, only because, as you saw, former world champions, Danny Garcia, great counter puncher, has got the movement. But Sean is an aggressive fighter, come forward fighter, and usually just bullies guys in the ring. So it's going to be interesting because both these guys have power, to see that stylistically how they match up.
The styles are so interesting. You know, I talked to Keith Thurman last week about this, and of course Thurman had close fights against both guys. So who are you going to talk to? You're going to talk to Thurman and Paulie, our own Paulie Malignaggi, who fought both of them as well. And Thurman, I asked him to grade each guy in several categories. And about 3 of the categories, he said even. I can't pick a winner. Although he did say he thought Garcia was a stronger puncher, Sean Porter the stronger physical fighter. It's virtually a pick-em fight, Brian. Yeah. And with Thurman having beaten both of them in very close fights, they lost a little luster in the welterweight division because it's now Thurman, Terrence Crawford. This is a chance for the winner to jump right back in and claim one of the top spots.
Well, let's get back into what we saw here today because this was really a crowning moment for Carl Frampton fighting there in Belfast. But then we started with Tyson Fury. Second fight from a 2.5-year hiatus in his return. And it was a workmanlike performance that he had today. And then obviously it culminated with Deontay Wilder getting into the ring and these guys announcing that they are going to fight here either in November or December. You'll see it on Showtime pay-per-view in Las Vegas.
Well, it sounds simplistic to say, but the most important thing that Tyson Fury did was win. Because if he doesn't win, there's no fight with Wilder. The Sefery fight a couple of months back was about showing that Fury was back. This fight was showing he was ready for the next step. I think he did that. He went 10 rounds. He didn't wow us with his power. He's not a power puncher. No shock there. He did what he wanted to do against a very carefully picked opponent, and the next opponent won't be so carefully picked.
And I love the tale of the narrative because you watch the Fury fight and people were saying, well, he's not going to show too much. He's got Deontay Wilder right there. Yeah. Whereas Carl Frampton basically had Josh Warrington sitting ringside as well. And Carl Frampton said, no, I'm trying to knock this guy out. And I want to show you, Josh, me and you need to get it on. It was like, so which one is it? Yeah. Is it I'm not trying to show too much or I'm really trying to knock this guy out but couldn't knock him out?
Well, I think the big difference is that Frampton was fighting in his hometown, in Belfast, a city with a lot of boxing history. So he really wanted that knockout to please the fans. He got it. He's also 31 years old.
Yes.
He can't play games anymore. He wants to get back on top in the featherweight division right now.
And what do you think about Frampton-Warrington? I mean, Warrington really gave it to Selby and beat him up really bad in that fight. What do you think about these two?
I think it's a great matchup because Warrington we didn't know a lot about. He was undefeated before he fought Selby, but he hadn't accomplished that much. It's a huge fight because it's a huge fight in England and in Great Britain and the UK because it's a Northern Ireland fighter against an English fighter.
Well, it was certainly entertaining. Today's Showtime Boxing International will replay later on tonight. So listen, if you missed any part of the action or you want to watch the fight again, we'll have the complete replay tonight, 10 p.m. on Showtime Extreme. Now, Saturday, September 8th, Showtime Championship Boxing presents the long-awaited matchup. 2 former world champions, Danny Garcia squares off with Sean Porter for the vacant WBC welterweight title. And SHOBOX, the new generation, it returns Friday, September 21st, when the undefeated super featherweight John Fernandez faces Osha Key Foster. And 1 week later, on September 28th, the lightweight sensation Devin Haney, he makes his return to the ring against 3-time title challenger Juan Carlos Burgos. Now, for my friend Steve Farhood, the Hall of Famer, and all of us here at Showtime Sports, I'm Brian Custer. Good night, everyone.